The Environmental Investment Fund hosted the fund's Stakeholders Conference and Ecosystems-Based Adaptation Project Grants Award Ceremony under the theme Improving Climate Financing Scale through Strategic Collaboration. To give us more details on this, I'm joined by the Executive Business Strategy and Performance Management at Environmental Investment Fund, that's Aina-Maria Iteta. A very good evening to you, and thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening.
So talk to us about what historical background the fund stood out today at the conference.
Well, in fact, I'm grateful on behalf of the fund. This is one of a very remarkable events we have hosted, probably in the past 5 years, especially in collaboration and bringing out stakeholders together.
Right.
So we really are proud, our stakeholders. We have round about more than 80% of attendance. That speaks volume. Mm-hmm. And that means our stakeholders are there, and definitely they are looking forward for a collaboration.
That's very good. Now, share with us the targeted interventions and new areas that were identified at the conference in ensuring sustainability for the fund.
Well, there were a lot of issues raised. Of course, our main focus was really to get the input from the stakeholders in terms of how do they assess the fund's intervention. Mm-hmm. Of course, our mandate is cross-cutting, and looking at varieties of our stakeholders, both from the private sector. Message is so strong. The interest from the private sectors, especially the commercial banks, in terms of supporting the initiatives that support the environmental management are quite interesting, and presenting opportunities to our communities, as well as the business and entrepreneurs who were attending the conference to ensure that they take up those opportunities. So definitely those are one of the outcomes, especially from the stakeholders. And then we have our governments. Definitely, of course, we are talking about the NDC, that is the National Determined Contribution, as Namibia have preached to the UNFCCC in addressing the Paris Agreement. The government have set the tone. Of course, the custodian of this particular document being the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Tourism, setting the platform that Namibia needs to raise more than 80 billion in the coming few years. So we need to work together as partners. And the message is very clear that definitely without collaboration, without partnership, we won't be able to achieve the dream unless we work together and make sure that we put our effort together. So the other strong message was coming from our civil society. Definitely they play a key role, especially bringing out the message of the grassroots level. Right. So these are the people who engage with the people on the ground, ensuring that initiatives, especially at central level as well as regional level, are brought down to the people and assisting them, especially with capacity, creating awareness of these opportunities that we are advertising and making sure that definitely they come through to support the community.
Right. So there is something called the EBA SAP 006 project that is funded by the Green Climate Fund. What is that all about?
Yes, the EBA, in short, SAP 001, as they call it in the GCF or Green Climate Fund language, is an ecosystem-based adaptation project. We are handing over 34 sub-grants to 34 community organizations. These are CBOs, women groups, youth groups. Definitely what we are preaching there is to say, with the impact of climate change, how do we conserve, how do we restore our ecosystem, ensuring that the initiatives that are being definitely developed add value to the devastated communities who have lost their livelihood, ensuring that while they are reclaiming their livelihood, they are also restoring the environment that we are saying the future generations still continue to tap from these natural resources that we are having. So it's a collaborative effort really that we are looking at.
Exactly. Now, we understand that a total of 88 million Namibian dollars will be awarded to 34 deserving community-based organizations. How are these organizations selected?
Well, it is quite a very, very competitive process, we would say. From the onset, I would say, when we did a call for proposal, we received more than 200 applications. That says a lot. From that, we have to sift out, and we reached around 70 proposals that were still eligible. But the envelope that we have couldn't allow us to fund all the concept. That talks about the demand.
Right.
So from that 70, we still have to sift out and get to the 34. Right. So definitely it is quite a public open process. Definitely what we do, we advertise. Definitely communities, organizations that meet the requirements, they apply. We have a vigorous assessment and evaluation processes that is also independent, internal, and of course we have external experts that we call the technical advisory panel, which is a subcommittee of the board. So they do approve and thoroughly give their opinion to get us to the 34 that we have now. But of course the message from us is that the demand and the need of funding and climate finance is quite high, and hopefully that's why we are actually trying to come up with this stakeholder collaboration effort to see how do we mobilize more resources to help our community.
Right, and is this a community-wide, I mean a country-wide initiative, or only based in certain areas?
Well, it is quite geographically, we were covering, of course, the whole country,
right.
Of course, with the exemption of commerce, commerce because of the setup of the commerce region. Our interventions are mostly in rural areas where you find the communal conservancies, community forests, rural women groups who are dealing with the initiative, of course, that support the adaptation and mitigation effort. But of course, we are introducing new programs that are also looking at the peri-urban initiatives, peri-urban agriculture, and hopefully the regions like commerce would take advantage to be supported in such effort.
Right, and it's very good to see that the response has been large. As you said, the number was so big, and then you had to reduce it, sieve it down. Any final thoughts at this point?
Well, really, my call is actually and a point of appreciation to our stakeholder. Of course, we actually received more than what we anticipated, and we are so grateful. We are not taking that for granted. That means the partners are out there and they are so willing to collaborate with EIF, and the agenda is really to improve our resource mobilization effort as a nation, and ensure that definitely Namibia be a champion when it comes to mitigation and adaptation measures as we fight the issues of climate change.
Great. Well, let me thank you so much for coming onto the show today, and we wish you all the best in your initiative.
Thank you, ma'am.
Well, of course, that is the Executive Business and Strategy and Performance Management Officer at the Environmental Investment Fund, Aina-Maria Iteta. She has been talking to us about the Fund's Stakeholders Conference and Ecosystem-Based Adaptation Project Grants Awards Ceremony. Well, now we're taking a short break, and then we'll be back with a Daily Roundup. Don't go away.